The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Oh man, what a new year. What a new year.
What a new year.
Wow, we really went hard, man. That was a big New Year's. I know we can't talk about those things that happened, that's behind closed doors, but wow.
The craziest of things.
2 days later, we're still feeling it. I mean,
Kirk, still not here.
Oh my God, Kirk's still not here. And how crazy that James Hoffman flew out and did those things that he did. I can't say too much, but
we're going to have to save that.
Let's just say he got his beans out and it was confronting for everyone. But wow, I didn't know he had it in him. Good on him.
Either.
Yeah.
His steam wand, stunning.
Yeah, stunning steam wand. High pressure.
Clean.
Velocity. Yeah. Definitely. No. Okay.
Hey guys, welcome to Coffee Break. This is Fresh Out. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's just the two of us today. So we're just going to cover a few things and just make sure that we're here for you. I know you guys probably have a little time off and, that's us. We're here for you.
It's great getting Sonam and Katie on the pod. They were great to have last week. Katie's always a fun one to go in. Obviously, I think we just have a nice banter of just talking absolute crap at one another. So That's always a nice thing to have.
I love it. And I also love the synergy between you and So. It's always like a lovely thing.
My man, love him. Son dids.
An easy thing to watch.
Yeah. What a relationship going from being the little kids making coffee together all the way up here to running this business now. It's wouldn't want to do it with anyone else and love him dearly. Things to talk about moving forward, the new year. I mean, mice is going to be upon us soon enough. I love the idea of mice. What a time for everyone in the coffee community to get together, to have some events. I feel like they've been struggling the last few years. I think people have got fed up with a few things. My main problem is...
Sorry to just jump in there. MICE being it's like...
Melbourne International Coffee Expo. It's kind of like Australia's coffee event.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to bring in some serious changes this year to kind of increase that. One of the ones that I think they're doing is making it more accessible for roasters to get in there. And that's what I want. If I'm going to MICE, I want to go in and see the best roasters around, roasters I haven't seen, and I want to try these coffees and do it. Without that, when it's just like different machines and, different milks and that, it's like, where's the coffee? I think it was a bit inaccessible. I don't think the investment was worthwhile for roasters, but I think they're making it more accessible now. And I think this year you'll be able to get a lot more coffee there. So I'm hoping they can kind of pull it together. One thing that was kind of, I thought could be cool is maybe they need to make this a touring show. Maybe it needs to change name from MICE. Maybe it needs to be called ACE. Maybe it needs to be called the Australian Coffee Expo. And you could do it city to city each year. I think there's huge coffee culture now in every single city. I think they could easily do that. Also bring different people, go see different places, see different roasters from all over Australia. I think that could be a really cool thing for them to try doing moving forward.
That's awesome. Yeah. I agree. I think going to MICE, you want to leave inspired. You want to be like, oh my gosh, I'm like now more connected because I was there.
Yeah.
I feel more like, I left with the inside scoop of the playlists of all the tastes and the new techniques, the new machinery, the everything,
It all needs to sing together. You need to have 100%. Every part of the puzzle kind of put together. And I think if they can do that, then they're going to have a lot more luck and bring a lot more people. I mean, last year was bizarre. It was like, was it Mother's Day or Father's Day or something? And I'm like, what a weird day to do the public day.
That's right. It was on a weird day.
And not only that, guess what? If it's Mother's Day, that's one of the busiest days for cafes in Australia is Mother's Day. So not only are you not getting the general public because they're celebrating Mother's Day, you're not getting the hospitality industry because they're running their cafes that are the busiest they've ever been.
Not even be present.
Bizarre move. So hopefully with a few adjustments this year, we can see MICE because I want it to work, right? Like I want there to be something. I want there to be an event. So hopefully they can pull it off. And if not, you know what? Maybe we'll just do something. Maybe we'll host the coffee event. Maybe we'll create ACE and do that.
I love that. That was quick. Did you think about that before?
No.
Crush
threw
it.
it out, or maybe I did. Who knows? I'll never tell. Also, New Year. How many people got Santa Claus came down their little chimney and left them a brand new espresso machine under the tree? How many people? We know that some of our videos that are most popular, just the tutorials at this time of year, because everyone's getting a new machine. They want to know how to use it. Maybe we could talk about like what the year kind of holds there. It's going to be an interesting year for the home market, right? We've got the Ninja Luxe. I think it's in the States at the moment. It's not in Australia. It's in the UK. I think it's going to launch in Australia some point next year. So you've got that. That is a machine that is going to be competing at that Breville Barista Express price range, probably I think it was $4.99 in the US. I'm assuming it'll be somewhere in the $6.99 to $7.99 price range.
It's super affordable.
Super affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously still an investment, but for the technology you're getting. And the thing that the Ninja Luxe kind of has is it's really tapping into that beginner market, more of the Swiss Army knife kind of side of things, because not only does it do espresso, it does like quad shots, yuck. It does cold brew, which I think is cool, and it does drip coffee, which I can leave. I'd rather just make a V60.
Yep.
But for people who want it, that's fine. Also, that machine has assisted stuff, which no other machine at that price point has, right? So when you put the portafilter in the cradle for the grinder, it's got an inbuilt scale that tears off. So this is on a very affordable machine. You put it in, it weighs the portafilter and then grinds the coffee. So it knows how much it's grinding in. Then when you extract your coffee, it can measure the time that it takes and the yield, and it will be like, that was too fast or too slow. And then the screen will give you a recommended grind size. So if you have it set on 6, it'll be like, I recommend going to 3. And with a new coffee, it might take 2 times, or it might recommend 3, you do it, and then it's like, actually, I was wrong, it's 2, and then you do it again. But for beginners, having that level of like assisted help when you're making your coffee is really helpful. And it also has like this dosing funnel with the tamp, so you can only tamp flat. The way that the tamp fits into the dosing funnel and it hits flat, so you have to, and it's pressurized. So there's all these things that are kind of making it the easiest. And then, you can make decent flat whites from it. The automatic steaming on it's not great. It's just like a little frothing whisk. The manual steaming is fine and comparable to other machines. So I think the ball then falls into Breville's court to be like, how are they going to up? Because they're kind of the mark, right? They're that section. They bought out the Oracle Jet, fully automated. Amazing. It grinds, doses, tamps your coffee, automatic steaming, which is probably the best in the market at that level. Still some issues with it, but the best so far on the market. But that machine's like $3,000.
Wow. That's a big jump.
They have other machines like the Barista Express Impress, which has like a little tamping thing, and it will tell you like too much, too little. So there are other models with some assisted stuff, but it'll be on them. I want to see them. The Breville Dual Boiler is what I say is like the best machine bang for buck. If you're looking at a machine, if you know enough about coffee, that machine is a dual boiler that is going to get you a really high quality, and you can probably get it for like $1.5 grand, probably get it on sale at some point for like $1,000. And that machine is great. Obviously, it's not in the market of like your Lamazocos and that, but they're $6,000 to $8,000 machines. But for a $5,000 price difference, I don't think there's a $5,000 difference between those machines, if that makes sense.
Totally. I think even what you were talking about, that level of automation, but still educating the person that's creating the coffee, I think is like incredible. Yeah. Tearing and like switching up your grind settings. That's insane.
Yeah. And then you look to the grinders. There are so many grinders on the market now. Like it is crazy. You're getting from like Time More to Varia. You got the VS6. You got the Sculptor series, the VS3. Mazza's got their Philos. You've got all these like single dose grinders that are coming in. I will say, and I'm a bit different because I'm not making coffee that much just at home because I do it in the office. Single dosing, man. When I'm doing these videos, just that extra time just kills me. But I'm making enough coffee, right? Like with a hopper grinder, I'm like going through however many coffees in a day. I guess if I was at home by myself, the single dose wouldn't be as much of an issue. Obviously, there's the niche as well.
So you're talking about grinders that allow you to do one dose of coffee at a time. Like you don't have to waste anything. You don't have to.
Yeah, you keep your coffee fresh. You can switch between coffees, all that kind of thing. So it's great for the coffee nerd and like that really wants to get the most out of every coffee. If you're doing just like the same coffee every day, if you're buying your LD coffee, don't worry about it. It's fine. Just put it in, just get a hopper grinder, unless, price, whatever. But I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference if you're doing like a medium dark roast coffee, and just fill up your hopper a little less. Just don't have the whole thing full sitting there for days,
Just while this is on my mind, Sonam earlier in the week on our last pod, one of his hot predictions was that there's going to be a massive shortage of coffee because of the droughts that are coming through. And it made me think of when I was chatting with Zach Stubbletti Cook and with Kirk, they kind of went back on freezing their coffee. Mm-hmm. Do you reckon that will be like, should people start kind of leaning into that and like kind of saving their coffee? Like, are we going to...
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we've had people before freezing the coffee. Like it's one of those things that was like an old wives' tale. Okay. And then as in people would freeze their coffee and then it was like, don't freeze your coffee. This is horrible. Don't do it. And then years later, it's like, no, you can freeze your coffee. Even if you have like a bag here, I've got our 250 gram bag. If you want to freeze it, it's got a little valve at the back. If you have excess of coffee or you want to order coffee in bulk because it's on sale or something happens, all you have to do is put a bit of tape over the valve because you don't want any oxygen getting in. Chuck it in your freezer, and then you want as little air as possible, and then you freeze it and you've got it, and it's going to be at a really high quality when you get it out again. All you have to do is take it out the night before you use it and let it defrost without opening it.
Okay.
Because if you take it out frozen and you open it, their condensation will form and water droplets, and it's really bad for the coffee and that kind of thing. You just need to let it defrost in the bag first. Then the next morning, open it up, throw it in your grinder, and away you go.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I've kind of learned with this pod is how important water is.
Yeah.
How we talk about, like, obviously we've got like where we were just talking about the home machine and now grinders. And why isn't a conversation about water filtering? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems so important to the coffee experience. Like, when we had the water boy come through, Water Wizard, chatting about like, and even with Kirk, he's got like a magnesium filter in his cafe, right? Like, are we going to see that at home where there's like water filter? I mean, obviously you have water filter, little jugs and stuff like that, but like for the coffee maker where you're implementing certain like, magnesium elements to it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple different elements that it can roll into. I think spiking your water with those things like magnesium and all that, you can buy the little thing like Apex Labs, you can buy those little things and you can just add it after you've made the espresso.
So it doesn't really matter what you start with?
No, it's not.
Okay.
As in it does. You want to start with something with like not a huge amount of like particles in it already, but you don't need to put it in the pre-water. If you have good water going in, you can add it afterwards and it's the same thing. So you can just spike that coffee. Okay. But just general better water used in machines, not even taste-wise, just as a user of your machine, especially if you're in other cities, I think like Perth and Brisbane and that have really hard water and it just screws your machine. You get build up, you get scale in there. And so people don't descale their machines enough as well. And then they leave it too long. And then after like 3 years, they descale it. But the build up is so thick that the solution breaks off the chunk, but it doesn't dissolve it. So then it just blocks the pipe. And everyone's like, I descaled my machine and it broke it. It's like, no, you descaled your machine after having it for 3 years and you broke it. You need to do that more regularly. Look at the water you're putting in. Again, Ninja Lux. This isn't sponsored. It's just a machine that we used recently. They have a testing kit that comes with the machine. So you can test your water before you use it. And it will tell you if it's at this level, fine, straight out of the tap, go in. If it's at this level, you need to do X. You need to use filtered water in your machine. So I think water is always just that extra step for people that they find hard. It's so weird that everyone's gotten into, I think because it's easy, like all this stupid wedge tools and that. Like WDT I think's good, but funny we do all these things, but then we just leave water even though it's like 99% of the beverage.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like in my head, I'm like, maybe you've got like a little like tap, like this little thing that like filters it properly, and you just go, okay, I'm doing especially with like a pour over or like something like that.
Yeah, you can just even buy like a massive 10-liter like, thing from the supermarket.
I was thinking that like bottled water, like
just buy. How you buy those big like goon sacks of water?
Yeah. Crazy. You kind of made me think of this, but as a massive hack and maybe like tutorials on golden brown, but properly cleaning your machines and knowing how to do it. Like, you're saying people like leave it too long and then it's like you're actually dealing with a bigger problem now.
Yeah.
My parents have a little Breville at home and they didn't even know it had a second drawer with all the the blind filter and but how to use them too. I was like, even if you're not putting the coffee cleaner through the machine, like, at least use the blind, backflush it and like do it properly. And he's like, you're going to have to go over that with me. And I think
it is steps that become hard for people, and it's weird. No one reads manuals. No one does anything anymore. It's half the success of our channel is just telling people these simple things. Yeah. So it's like the main dot points, like if you get there from a home machine, are your grinder, cleaning it out, cleaning the burrs, doing that. And people are like, oh, who cares? Oh, it's just coffee in there anyway. No, coffee has oils in it. These oils go rancid. They create like this fishy smell. If you have that sitting in your grinder for ages, it's going to impart in the coffee you're putting out and it's going to taste manky. But every time before you run a shot, you need to flush water out because coffee buildup is going to go on the shower screen and you just want to get rid of that. Otherwise, it's going to go into it. Every once in a while, there's a little Allen key. Unscrew the shower screen. Just give it a wash with some detergent. Easy as. Take out your coffee basket and clean the coffee basket every day.
Yeah. Even that just from the portafilter. Like many places I go, I'll pop out the basket and I look at like what's underneath. I'm like, that shouldn't be that color.
Yeah.
That really shouldn't be that color.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And when we work in a busy cafe, we're doing it like we're running in at like 11 o'clock. We're like, stop making orders, full backflush, full clean, full wash up. And then your steam wand, it can get clogged. There's water buildup. Always purge it before and after you use it. Super easy to clean. It's easy to take off the little tip and soak it. All these things are easy. Backflushing your machine with the blind, using a cleaning tablet because coffee, what can happen is there's water comes out of like the pump or whatever it is, and there's like a valve, right? Mm-hmm. And then between that valve and the group head, there's another pipe. Water can then, when you run your machine, can get sucked back up into that first part of the pipe and coffee goes up into that. So that's why you need to use these cleaning solutions. So water is running out through there and then flushing into the bottom of your tank of doing it. So, all of those things, yes, can be annoying, but if you just add it into the routine, it's really not that hard. It's
also that thing, right? Like the newer machines, some of them will have like automated like washing functions as well.
Yeah.
Like if you put the portafilter in the back, all you need to do is change the basket.
Yeah, you press the button and it will kind of do it.
Sometimes they're a little hidden. I remember like walking into a cafe and like it was a fully fledged cafe and the head barista there didn't know how to trigger the backflush. They were still doing manual backflush functions on one of the new Lamazocas. I'm like, the rep should have taught you this. Like, I know that you've been here from day one, but like, you got to hold the two buttons and it will trigger the whole thing. System, but I think learning that stuff can be a game changer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It made me think of the analogy being, why you would want to clean it and people saying, oh, but coffee's coffee, it's through there. It's like with an orange juicer. If you had an orange juicer and you juice an orange and then you just left all the pulp.
Left the pulp there to get moldy over days. It's like, oh, well, it's just more orange going in your drink.
A little more
people
tangy.
Are so stupid. Like, oh my God, the comments you get. It's like everyone just wants to complain about something. I'm like, and you're like, you think you're doing the most harmless thing. You're like, here's a tutorial on how to clean your shower screen. And then it's like, you're an idiot. You're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's great.
I would actually love to do, I don't know if it would be that different because obviously we have like really nice water here in Melbourne, but like go the bottled water versus the, versus like tap water and just see
do
the
tap,
difference.
do like a bottled and then do spiking with different you know, like magnesium and stuff like that, and just do like a side-by-side taste. That's the number one thing that I have. Like when you give people who aren't as into coffee a coffee and you're like, oh, what do you think of this? It's so hard when it's just like in that moment, every other coffee you've had is out of your head and you're just sipping this one thing and you're like, yeah, it tastes like coffee. The easiest thing to do if you want to learn is just side-by-side stuff, put it down, be like, oh yeah, now when I taste it compared to that, this one definitely is a bit more fruity or a bit more acidic or has more texture or feels more velvety, whatever it is, and kind of learn like what you know and what you're after.
And even do that with a clean machine.
Yeah.
Do one first.
Do a dirty one versus a clean.
Do one and be like, night and day. It's crazy.
But I do want to see machines start integrating that stuff to make it easier and easier, because half the reason people don't do this crap is because it's just that extra effort. You know, you look at, we looked at the Fiorenzato grinder the other day, and that hopper, this is the commercial grinder, that hopper clips off either side and the whole burr system comes out. And that means you're not changing your grind size with the collar and spinning it around. You just click it off, clean, click it back in, and your grind size is there. You don't have to dial in again. Think about when you're at a cafe, especially if you're working with unexperienced baristas. They don't know how to clean it properly. They're trying to dial it in. It takes forever to do it. This, click out, done. The Mazzafilos, the whole front of the machine comes on. The grind adjustment is at the back, so you're not messing with it. You just pull it off, brush the burrs, jam it back on, and away you go. So we need to see the manufacturers making it easier for people as well.
I mean, the amount of like hospo horror stories where like you're mid-service and like someone like goes to change the grind and then they thread the EK kind of thing, and then it's game over because like from a perfectly running shot to now it's running 60 seconds, it's doubled it, and you're like, I need to shut down my service completely. And it's like, oh, now I drop one of the springs, and it's like, what a mess.
So the number one thing, if you have just got a new machine, if you're listening to this, the number one thing to get out of all the tools and out of all the things is a scale.
That's your number one tool?
Number one.
A scale?
Yeah. What else would you think? What would you put up there?
I mean, I think the cleaning thing was like the biggest like game change.
But all the cleaning stuff should come with the machine. So I'm saying in addition. I'm saying in addition to it. So like people will throw out like WDT. I'm like, whatever. If you're just getting a machine, it's fine. The scale is going to be your best friend because it's not about being super crazy nerdy with it. It's about efficiency of dialing in, know what you're doing, and getting to a better shot quicker. If you're working off a ratio, or, if you speak to your roaster, they'll tell you like a good brew recipe. You weigh out the exact dose that you need, 18, 19 grams, whatever it is, and then you know that what you're aiming for out. Right? You know that you're aiming for, if it's a 1 to 2, you're aiming for 20 grams in, I want 40 grams out. And you can go, I got 40 grams in 19 seconds. Great. I know exactly what I need to adjust. I just need to go a couple clicks finer to slow down that flow of water. But your 20 gram dose or whatever it is never changing. If you're just going off like a Breville and you're just changing the grind size if it's running fast or slow, what happens is as you grind coarser, it's easier to grind, so more coffee comes out. So as soon as you change coarser, your dose is going up as well. So you're throwing out variables everywhere. If you grind finer, less coffee comes out. So if you had an 18 gram dose and you grind finer and grind for the exact amount of time, you'll probably get like a 17 gram dose. So you're throwing out variables left and right here. So a scale just helps you keep in that. And if you're using just like a conical burr grinder, for those that don't know, flat burr versus conical, flat burr is two flat burrs together that will smash it up, and they create less fines. It's more clear, more clarity, better for specialty coffee, but they're more annoying to dial in. Conical burrs work as like a cone shape, and it goes in, and the grind adjustments don't change that drastically on them. There's a bit more fines, there's more body, more texture, classic espresso in it. So if you're just going for like espresso and milk, that's fine. That's all you need. But once you've dialed in your coffee, it's not going to change that much from the conical burr grinder. A flat burr will have more variables. Conical burr, dial it in once and you're like, cool, I'm in the ballpark. I'm happy with where it's at. We can just make coffees and go from there.
Yeah, right. Scale makes sense. Actually, as soon as you said it, I was like, wait, I didn't even think that, but it's like you weigh your grind before. You weigh it as it's coming out. And it's like, they're the things, you know?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it's also about the, I guess what is it? The nomenclature of like, you know, it's all the talk behind it. Like finer and coarser doesn't automatically for, I think the average coffee maker go coarse means quicker.
Yeah.
Finer means slower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if we need to like bridge the gap between like.
It is, as someone who's worked in coffee, like it's just so second nature to me that I'm like, of course, like it's this, but you do speak to people. And 90% of the DMs that I get are like, what is my coffee doing? It's barely coming out. I don't know what to do. I'm like, grind coarser.
Yeah.
Like I should set up an AI bot that just responds grind coarser, grind finer, because that's 90% of like what I deal with.
I think I remember like my family would call me and like their automatic thought was if I need to slow down a shot, they would add more coffee in the pod filter.
Which also works.
It does.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like a drastic amount.
Yeah.
I'm like, you might damage.
Yeah.
your
Yeah. You
machine
don't want to
if-
add too much.
Yeah. You don't want to be like cranking the thing.
Another reason you want to scale, because most baskets will have a dose guide range. Like a 17-gram basket normally is between 16 to 18 grams is the range that you get in there. So you want to be filling it to that ideal amount. If you underfill it, that's fine. It'll still make the coffee if you're working to a ratio, but it'll probably be a sloppy wet puck. You're going to get less of a wet puck when you use the right amount of coffee and fill that basket, because what happens is when there's more headspace above the coffee, more water gets left in at the top when you're extracting your coffees. That's why you get like a wet, sloppy puck. Also, 3-way solenoid valves. We don't need to get into that right now. And what else were we saying? Coffee size, scale. Yeah, I think because all the other stuff you can kind of get away with, like the crappy tamps. It's like you can still, as long as you push down hard enough and keep it flat, that's going to be pretty good. So yeah, I would say scale is the go-to. Recommendations, you can get, as long as you measure to 0.1 of a gram, that's fine. There's ones on Amazon that you can get that probably cost like $10, $20. If you want something that's a bit more responsive, like if you're weighing your extraction live as it's happening, you want something that's updating quickly, because if it's too slow and you turn off the extraction, it doesn't work. I would say like Time More has some affordable ones that are probably more in that like $80 range. And then you start getting to the nerdy ones like Akai and that kind of stuff that get up into that like $300 to $600 range. Too much for a scale. Don't need it.
Wild.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, there's some home tips to start off the year for a new year.
It's going to be our first app of the year.
Oh, yeah. This is the coffee break. Is the first app. Nice little coffee break.
2025, baby.
2025.
My God, 2025.
Yeah.
Really are.
How crazy, man.
That's insane. This one crept up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The older you get, the more the years just disappear into the ether.
Whole relative thing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Eco Barista, our great sponsor, the best eco products you can get for your cafe. We use them. I've used them for 3 years now as Golden Brown. They look great. We made custom bags. They got them printed, made. They do cups. They do everything that you can need. And you get 15% off if it's your first purchase by signing up. That's at ecobarista.com.au. So happy to have them on board as a sponsor. Gives us more reason to keep doing this pod. For all of you out there listening, if you want to talk to us, send us an email. You can hit us up at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. You can hit us up on the socials. We'd love to hear from you. Liam, Happy New Year, mate. I can't wait for another great year with you. Do you have anything to say to the people? To the people. No, just thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great year as well. We've got many plans in store, and I hope to keep delivering an entertaining piece of content that to start your day or end your day whenever you listen to this. Whenever in your day. Yeah. I could probably look that up. See where our listeners. But Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Ro. Happy New Year. Love you, mate. Thank you for listening to another episode of Coffee Break. Coffee Break.